Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise to bring you the insights that count. Today, we're diving into a pretty big vision, really, for a hyper-connected digital future. Just imagine, right? A world where all your digital communities, think your bank, your uni, maybe a specific crypto network, can all talk to each other, transact seamlessly. That's the ambition behind what we're looking at today. The Icon network and its cryptocurrency, ICX.
Yeah, it's a huge goal. And just quickly, before we really dig in, you might hear ICX used elsewhere. Sometimes it stands for like intelligent customer experience or something. But just to be clear, today we're laser focused on Icon, the blockchain project, and its ICX token. Totally different thing, but definitely fascinating.
Absolutely. Good clarification. Okay, so our mission today. We've got a stack of sources, tokenomics docs, community stuff, enterprise stories, even some critical analysis. We're going to pull out the key nuggets, help you understand how Icon actually plans to hyper-connect the world, what makes its economic model tick, and maybe surprisingly, where it's already being used in the real world. Let's jump in. So first things first, what is Icon, really? At its core, they define it as a platform, right? To help independent blockchains interact. They call these blockchains communities.
That's the term, yeah, communities.
And what's important, I think, is how broad that term is. It's not just, Bitcoin or Ethereum communities we're talking about. Icon sees banks, businesses, hospitals, schools, even governments as potential communities. That scope is pretty huge.
It really is. It underpins the whole vision.
The project started back in 2017, founded by the Icon Foundation over in South Korea. Their goal: to build a digital nation, basically aiming for one of the biggest decentralized networks out there. And here's what I found really interesting. Their inspiration comes from how real-world economies work. Different players, businesses, nonprofits, governments, they all operate independently but use a common currency, and they can still interact.
Exactly. They're trying to map that kind of interoperable economic structure onto the digital world. It's quite clever, actually.
So how did they build it? What's the architecture look like?
Okay, yeah, the structure. It's built around 5 main parts that all work together. Think of it like layers. At the top, you've got the Icon Republic. This is like the central government, the main decision-making body for the whole network. Sort of oversees things.
Like a federal level.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Like the U.S. federal government. And then each Icon community is like an individual state. And each of these communities is its own independent network. It has its own rules, its own governance, its own nodes, its own way of doing things. A bank's community might be very hierarchical, for instance.
Right, while a crypto one might be totally consensus-driven.
Precisely. Then, within each community, you have community representatives, or C-reps. These are nodes that get elected by their community, and they're trusted to interact with the Icon Republic. They get paid in ICX for doing this work.
Okay.
Underneath them, you have the community nodes, the C nodes. They're basically the infrastructure that keeps each community's individual blockchain running. And finally, there are citizen nodes. These are just regular participants, like you or me perhaps, who can make transactions within a community or even between communities. But importantly, they don't get a vote in the governance.
Got it. So Republic, communities, C-reps, C-nodes, citizens, and what tech makes this all connect?
Right, the tech glue. The Republic's main blockchain, the central hub or nexus, runs on Icon's own blockchain engine called Loopchain. It's built for performance. Then you have the Blockchain Transmission Protocol, BTP. That's the really crucial set of rules defining how these separate blockchains talk to the nexus and, through it, to each other. And to handle swapping assets between all these different communities, there's a decentralized exchange, a DX. It manages currency reserves and uses, interestingly, an AI model to figure out fair exchange rates. ICX acts as the go-between currency here.
An AI model for exchange rates, huh? That's different.
It is. And one more thing, developers can build dApps, decentralized applications, on Icon's public channel too. There's a dApp store where you can access them.
Okay, that paints a pretty clear picture of the structure. So now let's talk about the fuel for this engine. The ICX token itself, what's its role in all this? How does it actually work?
Well, like you said, it's the fuel. It's essential. ICX is used for pretty much everything. Paying transaction fees, creating new tokens on the platform, launching smart contracts. It powers the entire ecosystem. And there's been a really significant update recently to its economics, something called IC 3.1.
ICI 3.1, Icon Incentive Scoring System version 3.1.
That's the one. It's not just a tweak, it's a whole new framework for the tokenomics. The validators actually passed it unanimously, which says something. The main aim was to make the whole system more sustainable and, crucially, predictable.
Predictable how? What changed?
The big change is inflation. Before ICE 3.1, the inflation rate could kind of swing around. There wasn't a fixed upper limit. It depended on staking levels and rewards. Now, under 3.1, inflation is hard set at just 3.99% per year. That's it, fixed.
Okay, a hard cap. That's a big deal for predictability. So where does that newly minted ICX go?
It gets divided up across four main categories. The biggest chunk, about 77% of that 3.99%, goes to the voters, basically, people staking their ICX. That works out to something like 2.3 million ICX every month.
And what about the reward rate for staking? I heard that changed too.
It did. It's generally lower now, sitting around 6-7% annually, down from maybe 10-12% before. But here's the interesting part. It's dynamic. If everyone staked their ICX, the reward rate would actually drop to about 3%. But if, say, only 1% of the network staked, the rate could shoot up to over 300%.
Whoa. So it really incentivizes people to stake, but maybe not too many.
Exactly. It's designed to encourage participation and keep the stake distributed, preventing it from getting too concentrated. It's a neat balancing act.
Okay, so 77% to stakers. Where does the rest go?
All right, next up are the block producers, the validators running the network. They get about 13% of the inflation, maybe around 390,000 ICX a month. Then 10% goes to the CPS fund. That's the contribution proposal system. This is really important. It funds grants for projects that help grow the Icon ecosystem, about 300,000 ICX a month for that.
So that's like ecosystem development funding built right into the inflation.
Precisely. The last category is relays. Right now they get 0%, but that's expected to change once BTP, the Interoperability Protocol, fully launches. The validators will decide on rewards for relays then, and likely adjust the other percentages slightly.
And how do transaction fees fit into this?
Good question. That's the other side of the coin. The transaction fees collected across the entire network aren't just pocketed, they're used to cancel out inflation. So if the network burns, say, 3 million ICX in fees in a month, and the target inflation was 3 million ICX, then the net inflation for that month is 0. It's a deflationary pressure.
Wow. Okay, so fees can actually make it deflationary sometimes.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And again, the validators can vote to adjust these allocation percentages if the network's needs change. It shows that decentralized governance in action.
That's a very thought out economic engine. So we have this digital nation vision, we have this dynamic economic model. How is it all governed? How are decisions actually made? Let's unpack the governance side.
Right. Icon uses a delegated proof of stake system, or DPoS. What that means for you, the ICX holder, is you don't have to run a complex server yourself to participate. Instead, you delegate your voting power, your stake, to registered validators. These validators are the ones who actually produce the blocks and vote on governance proposals.
So it's kind of a two-tiered system, passive rewards for delegators, active work for validators.
That's a great way to put it. It lets regular holders earn rewards passively, while people or teams with the technical skills can actually run the infrastructure and actively govern.
And what does it take to be a validator? Is it easy?
Well, there's a process. You need to register on-chain, and there's a fee of 2,000 ICX. Then validators get ranked based on the amount of stake delegated to them. There's an important distinction. Main validators are ranked 1 through 25, and sub-validators are 26 through 100. Only those top 25 main validators actually get to vote on network proposals.
Okay. So the top validators have the real voting power. Proposals need, what, a supermajority?
Yep, 67% threshold to pass. So those main validators hold significant sway over the network's direction. Now they get daily rewards for their work, but here's the kicker. It's tied to their bonded delegation. They need to have skin in the game.
Skin in the game? How does that work?
There's a 5% bond requirement. So if a validator has, say, 1 million ICX delegated to them from others, they need to personally deposit 50,000 of their own ICX as a bond to receive their full potential rewards.
I see. So they have something personal to lose if they mess up.
Exactly. It aligns their incentives with the network's health. And there are consequences for messing up. There's a slashing mechanism. If a validator misses too many blocks or tries something malicious, their bond can get slashed partly or even fully cut. This can seriously reduce or even eliminate their earnings. It's a strong deterrent.
Makes sense. And you mentioned it's not free to run one of these nodes.
No, definitely not. Running a reliable validator node on good quality cloud servers, you're probably looking at a commitment of maybe $1,000 to $1,500 per month. It requires serious operators.
So what are their main duties besides just running the server?
It's quite broad, actually. On-chain, obviously, producing blocks reliably, keeping their software up to date. They have to vote on network proposals. There are penalties if they miss votes. And they also govern the contribution proposal system, the CPS, reviewing and voting on which projects get funding from that inflation pool we talked about.
Okay, so quite involved on the technical and governance side. Anything else?
Yeah, there's an off-chain component too. They're expected to represent the Icon network professionally, on social media, engage in discussions, help educate the community, be good ambassadors, basically.
Right, it's a whole package. So for the average person holding ICX, how do they actually participate in this? How do they stake?
It's actually pretty user-friendly now, especially with the official HANA wallet. You just go into the wallet, find the earn section, choose Icon staking. Then you'll see a list of validators. You pick one you want to support, decide how much ICX to stake, and confirm. That's pretty much it.
And claiming rewards.
Also simple. In the wallet's token section, you'll see an option like Claim iScore. iScore is just what they call your accumulated rewards points. You tap that, and the ICX rewards land in your wallet.
Nice and easy. Okay, that really helps connect the dots on governance and staking. Now, let's shift gears a bit, because this is where, for me, it gets really compelling. Icon isn't just theory. It's actually out there, being used as an interoperability layer, helping teams build real cross-chain applications.
Yes, this is the practical side. And the core technology enabling this is that BTP, the blockchain transmission protocol we mentioned earlier.
Right. And you described it as trustless and chain agnostic for smart contract calls. What's the key thing about how it works?
The key thing, and this is important for understanding its security, is that the relays, the things passing messages between chains via BTP, they only pass messages. They aren't part of the security model itself. BTP doesn't rely on them or any third-party oracle or custodian to verify the messages. It's designed to be inherently trustless communication between the connected blockchains.
Okay, direct and secure. And that trustless design seems to be paying off, especially looking at the adoption in South Korea. Tell us about some of those real-world uses.
Yeah, South Korea is definitely where Icon Loop, a key technical partner, has made significant inroads. Take decentralized identity, or DDA. Their main product is called Zzeung. Zzeung actually got an exclusive license in South Korea for DID services. That's huge.
Wow. And how is it being used?
For some pretty major things. Shinhan Bank, one of Korea's biggest banks, uses it for KYC, Know Your Customer checks. And maybe even more striking, the government of Jeju Island used Zzeung for COVID-19 contact tracing, but in a way that protected user privacy. Balancing public health and privacy is a massive challenge, and they used Icon's tech for it. Zzeung's also part of the MyID Alliance, which has over 70 members, including big names like Samsung.
That's serious enterprise and government adoption. What else?
Digital certificates, another Icon Loop solution called Broof. It basically makes digital certificates tamper-proof using the blockchain. The Seoul Metropolitan Government used it way back in 2019 to appoint their blockchain governance team that was a first for a Korean government body using a public blockchain like that. Post-Tech, a top university, uses it for issuing diplomas. And Ceremin HR, the biggest online job platform in Korea, uses it to verify credentials.
So securing identity, securing credentials, very practical stuff.
Very. And then there's Visit Me, a digital pass system for visitor check-ins. It apparently got over 100,000 users and was used by more than 1,000 businesses, including big hotel chains like Hilton and Conrad. Icon Loop even offered it free during the pandemic.
That's impactful. Are they doing anything in payments?
Yes. Danal Fintech, which is part of Korea's largest mobile payment company, is integrating ICX into its Paycoin app. This means users will be able to pay with ICX at tens of thousands of merchants like KFC, Domino's Pizza, places like that. And there are also services like NOW payments that let online businesses easily accept ICX, charging pretty low fees like 0.5%.
Okay. DID, certificates, visitor management, payments. What about DeFi? Is ICX used in decentralized finance?
Yeah, absolutely. ICX is a pretty significant collateral asset within the Icon DeFi ecosystem. The main platform is called the Balance Network. It's run by the community. You deposit your ICX, and you can mint BNUSD, which is their algorithmic stablecoin. The cool part is your deposited ICX gets converted to ICICX, staked ICX. So while your capital is being used in DeFi, it's also earning those base staking rewards automatically.
Ah, that's smart. Productive collateral.
It's exactly. Balanced also has its own DX, an AM style exchange. Then there's the open money market, for lending and borrowing. And tools like Optimus have popped up to help you optimize your yield across these platforms, like automatically compounding your rewards. Plus, Orbit Bridge connects Icon to other ecosystems like Ethereum, by letting you bring assets like ETH or DI onto the Icon network for use in its DeFi apps.
So a growing DeFi scene too. What about NFTs?
Yep, they're active there as well. They have their own NFT standard, IRC3. One early project called Heftine involved limited edition gin bottles with embedded crypto chips verified on Icon. Kind of niche, but interesting. More mainstream, maybe, was Project Nebula, an online space game. They sold out 99 Planet NFTs in just 4 minutes, with one going for over 5,000 ICX, which was like $700 $750 back then.
4 minutes, wow. Any developments there?
Yeah, they recognize some scalability needs. So they've been developing a newer standard, IRC30, and a decentralized NFT marketplace called Craft Network. And beyond these big areas, sources mention work on e-government systems, election systems, healthcare management, even security tokens, and integrating decentralized oracles like BAN protocol.
Okay, the breadth of application is genuinely impressive. It's not just talk. They're actually implementing across many sectors.
It really shows a focus on practical solutions and adoption, especially leveraging Icon Loop's connections in Korea.
But of course, no project exists in a vacuum. Despite all this progress, what are the challenges? What hurdles does Icon face looking ahead?
Yeah, it's definitely not all smooth sailing. Our sources point out a couple of key challenges. One potential issue is, ironically, its relationship with traditional centralized crypto exchanges. Because Icon is so focused on decentralization and its own ecosystem, some major exchanges might be hesitant to list ICX, which could limit access for some investors who primarily use those platforms.
A potential friction point there. What else?
Well, the obvious one. Competition. The crypto space is incredibly crowded. There are tons of other projects working on interoperability, lots of strong layer 1 blockchains vying for developers and users. Icon has to constantly fight for its place.
Stiff competition for sure. So, wrapping things up, what's the overall value proposition here?
If you connect it all back, the value of the ICX token is really tied to its use within that whole ecosystem we've described. Since it powers everything, transactions, smart contracts, governance, DeFi, collateral demand for ICX should theoretically grow as the network and its applications grow. They're constantly developing new use cases, building alliances like the one with Aeon and OneChain for interoperability.
And the backing seems significant too.
Definitely. Having strong ties, even implicit endorsements from entities like the South Korean government, plus the support of the Swiss-based Icon Foundation, actively promoting the network that adds a layer of legitimacy and resources that many projects lack. So yeah, combining the strong utility, the ongoing development, and that backing, many analysts see ICX as having a pretty solid foundation and a potentially bright future.
So today we've really journeyed deep into Icon. It's a project aiming for something massive, hyper-connecting diverse digital communities into this digital nation. We've looked at its unique tokenomics, that hard-set inflation, the DPoS governance needing skin in the game from validators, and wow, that huge range of real-world uses from Didi in Korea to cross-chain DeFi and NFTs.
Yeah, you've really seen how it's tackling concrete problems, Zzeung for KYC, Broof for certificates, Visit Me for access, all while trying to build value within its own ICX token economy. It's this mix of grand vision and boots-on-the-ground implementation.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. Given Icon's whole model, this idea of a digital nation with independent communities interacting through a decentralized republic, how could that actually influence the future? Could we see this kind of framework shaping digital identity, governance, maybe even economic systems on a national or even global scale? Are we looking at a potential future where cross-border digital life is structured in ways we're only just starting to grasp?